Okay, so thank you very much for staying with us. Now that you signed on to Vodafone Red, you are getting some opportunities. That's free tickets to any Vodafone events, well, shopping discounts, and then free browsing at Vodafone cafes, retail shops, and the like. You get some more opportunities. And then if you are thinking about success in banking, then indeed, we're talking about Barclays Bank. I can't wait to move in there by tomorrow morning and get all the wonderful products. But Africa will prosper, and will prosper along with Barclays Bank. It's time for me to talk to my mover. Interestingly, he has a passion for people to prosper. Quite interesting what he does. But this man is a man who, interestingly, should have been mingling around metals and talking about the properties of metals, ductility, malleability, and all the like. But interestingly, he's veered off from that field as a mechanical engineering. What is he doing now? He's a social entrepreneur. We won't talk much. Let's go to the slides on your screens, and I'll give you more about my mover for the week. So Isaac Agre is the Executive Director of the West Africa Social Entrepreneurship. Well, his achievement, let me go back again. He is the Executive Director of the West African Social Entrepreneurship Network. His achievement in 2014, he was selected as the Young Emerging Leader Africans 2.0. His favorite color is blue. His favorite quote, the hope of a secure and livable world lies with disciplined nonconformists who are dedicated to justice, peace, and brotherhood. MLKJ. King. We couldn't put it all there. Martin Luther King Jr. So I don't know, but do you want to go through that quote again?
Well, basically, I mean, you said it all. But in a short form, you know, nonconformists, you put your hope in nonconformists. In a situation whereby people find hopelessness and people find there's no need to live or something to live for, then nonconformist comes inside to give hope and inspiration for people to live. So basically that is it.
And that's what inspires you.
Absolutely.
Now, I run through a little bit of an engineer because I have a background in engineering, but then I'm tempted to find out, such a wonderful profession, why would you move off?
Well,
I was not good at what I do, so at one point I had to tell Daddy, look, I want to veer off from this subject. But why did you have to veer off?
Yeah, you said it, thank you. And actually, I wanted to dig for gold and diamonds. I wanted to be a renowned mechanical engineer.
That's right.
Until I got to South Africa. And then I realized that women were marginalized, you know, like people who were supposed to cater for their families. Single women, because of the historical nature of the apartheid towards them. So they were historically disadvantaged and marginalized. So there was a need to bring them on a level of growth and also align them with opportunities to resource them to be self-sufficient. This was a project that I was going to do in the community, and eventually when I got there and I started listening to the stories of the women, it touched my heart, you know, because they were single mothers who go to do household chores to come and feed their families. Because they're not skills, they don't have the skill set, you know, to be self-sufficient or to do something for themselves because of the apartheid regime. So there was a need to have something like a model, like a redistribution of wealth.
So this is all in South Africa.
All
I just want to
before.
bring my viewers to exactly the point, exactly what you're trying to imply. And again, should I try to also envisage, is this what we mean by social entrepreneurship?
Precisely. Social entrepreneurship is an art. I say it's an art because you apply your learning achievement creatively. It's an art by identifying a social problem, analyzing it, and coming up with practical solutions to solve, you know, that problem that you've identified. So basically, you know, once you're able to identify a problem in your area, and then you're able to come up with practical solution to effectively bring about positive change. That is social entrepreneurship. But a typical social entrepreneur is someone who can diagnose a problem and come up, you know, with or use entrepreneurial or business skills to create, organize, and manage a venture to effect positive change.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you the opportunity to give me a typical example and how you were able to change the lives of society, or if given the chance, what you'll be able to do. But let me first find out from you, was this your passion? Why did you get into this?
It wasn't my passion initially. Like I said, I was supposed to be a renowned mechanical engineer, digging gold and diamonds.
That was your passion.
Yes, that was my passion. But getting to South Africa to pursue further studies, that is where it all changed. And actually, I was supposed to go and do a project work at a community. But when I got there and I started listening to stories, then it changed. You know, okay. I was touched.
Let me alert viewers that some of your visuals are on screen now. They will get a better understanding of who a social entrepreneur is, going through the rural areas, digging through society where the people are marginalized or impoverished, and bringing the best out of them to make a difference in their lives. And I'm speaking to Isaac Aggrey, who is the executive director of WASN. Isaac, go on with your story.
Yes, so it all changed when I started listening to the stories, you know, and like I said, women were the ones being affected by adverse poverty. The men were not allowed to work because they didn't have the skill set to do it. So basically it was the women, and the men have babies with them and they ran away. So they were single mothers, you know. So when I heard about the story, you know, I said, no, I need to come up with an innovative and effective solution to solve this problem. And that's where I set up a women business center.
Okay.
It's actually a business model. And what I do is 3 days customized design program for the women, and essentially for them to discover themselves and to discover their true potentials, and also empower them or align them with opportunities so that they can start their own businesses, and then give them the financial literacy programs where the banks also comes in to support it. But what made it so unique was that it was a 3-day. And initially, I consulted a lot of stakeholders. These stakeholders are called social impact investors. Now, I call them social impact investors because they direct their private capital to support businesses like what I started. You know, businesses delivering effective and innovative solutions to social, environmental challenges, or to promote socio-economic growth. So they came on board and they were, you know, excited about the initiative because it was a win for them and a win for the society. We will have, I started with 50 women and eventually got about 500 plus women.
Great story. I mean, and this all happened in South Africa.
Yes.
At one point, you needed to relocate back to Ghana. Yes. But here was Aggrey, who was doing great, fantastic in South Africa. Model splendid, a banking industry supporting. Yep. Why did you decide to relocate? Africa is one. What you were doing there could have been the calling. Why come back to Ghana?
Well, you said it. I'm not actually a South African, but Ghanaian. And having such impact in South Africa, I asked myself, why don't you bring the same or replicate the same in your country? So having gone to do my executive MBA, and people were also calling me from Ghana and saying, hey, why don't you come and replicate the same thing here? We need such kind of initiatives. So I decided I've done so much for the South Africans. I need to come back home and impact the lives of the people at home.
Have you impacted the lives of the people at home?
Essentially, you know,
Has it worked here in Ghana? Same module? Same
model, but a different approach, you know, and strategies. Because here in Ghana, we don't have so much social impact investors. We don't have so much banks, you know, doing business with society. So much incentives created by government to support initiatives like what I'm doing. Whereas in South Africa, you have the banks who are in support of the initiative, and then you have social impact investors, those who have directed their private capital to support the business because they know what the returns they're going to get out from it, you know. Whereas here we don't have such a thing. So
maybe let me tease out the challenges you faced in Ghana. That could bring out the best answers that I'm soliciting. Yeah. Is it difficult to implement this here in Ghana because the infrastructure, the support, and the funds is just not there?
Precisely. Precisely. It's just not there.
And the challenges?
The challenges could be human or financial resource constraint. You know, you don't have people, the understanding of the concept, you know, it's not there. You have these microfinance, microfinancial institutions. They're basically supposed to be, you know, implementing the social entrepreneurship, you know, initiatives. But you ask yourself, are they living up to that expectation? You have few of them.
Some of them are collapsing.
Yes. You see, so
that one you can't hide. Some of them are having challenges. So I'm sure they will get at me, but you know the truth.
So you have social entrepreneurship, which means doing business with the poor, you know, in ways that are mutually beneficial to all the people involved, you know. So here the concept is still getting, you know, to people to understand, you know, the dynamics of how this process works. Like I said, there are not so much incentives created to support such initiatives. And then the banks are also not in support of such initiatives. Because in South Africa, you send business plans to the banks, and you're so excited to fund. You're having a program, you invite them, they are so excited to come because it's a win for them and a win for the society. And that's what the concept of social entrepreneurship is: society, entrepreneurship combined together.
I like the way anytime you want to mention South Africa, you mention it with a lot of joy and say, in South Africa, I mean, they are excited to even come for that program. In South Africa, they are willing to pull their resources together and support the sector. Do you have any regrets coming?
I don't have much.
You do? Do you have any regrets?
I do have some.
Did you have any regrets?
No, not.
Have you had regrets?
No.
Do you?
No.
Then what do you mean by you did?
What I mean is that in any profession, you encounter challenges, you encounter disappointment. I'm giving myself some time because this, like I said, is a new emerging area that people need to understand. People need to know what it means to start a social business that does not, you know, benefit, you know, one particular person, but the society, whereby is win for society and also win for business. So I think it's with time people will now begin to understand the whole concept, and then it will sink in, and then they will begin to, the banks, government, or any other stakeholder who is a social investor out there can come on board to support it.
Tell me about the people you look out for. Maybe the people, the stakeholders you mentioned would appreciate better. What category of people do you target to help and support?
We have the marginalized communities, underserved, vulnerable groups, you know, women, farmers, you know, youth groups, those who don't have the hope to live, those who are marginalized in the communities, those who think, you know, finishing school is just to have a certificate, those who think finishing school is just to acquire a job. You understand? Those are the people we are dealing with, social cultural mindset that has formed and shaped the lives of the people. So you need to change. We need a shift to change that concept. You know, so those are the people that we targeted in order to empower them, for them to start discovering their true potentials that God has given to them. So those are the people, those who think, you know, there's so much of...
Just from 2011, I mean, you've been back for a while now. I mean, have you focused on any particular thing, and are you satisfied with the impact you're getting?
I started with social impact investment, and basically what I do is to have nationwide tours, identifying particular people who are creating impact in their communities, like social entrepreneurs in the communities. Most of them don't really know that they are doing social entrepreneurship, you know. So what we do is we sensitize, and then we go around nationwide to identify these social entrepreneurs. And basically what we do is that I have links of social impact investors in Europe. And I bring them down to support.
Okay, so now you're even getting some international support. Let me quickly chip this because time is not on my side. The Ghana Open Data Initiative. I mean, I've been trying to think through. What is this within 30 seconds?
Yes, basically that is the initiative that I am supporting now, because that is supposed to change the system and actually institutionalize reforms in the system. Basically what it does is that it's there to promote transparency and accountability and spur innovation and economic growth, and also eliminate waste and corruption in the system. So government has created an open data portal, and essentially what it does is that the data set are collected from all the ministries and departments and agencies in a format that can be accessed by citizens.
Okay.
You know, free of charge without, free of charge without any copyright restrictions. And basically what this seeks to do is that we want to empower citizens for feedback on governance. For the first time, we want citizens' voices to feed into policy and decision making, and also co-create, with government. So it's a platform being set where government now engages with, civil society, the media, ordinary citizens, and basically what we want to do is decrease the distance that has been existed between government and citizens, so that citizens' voice can also go into policy making and decision making, and they can also set their own preferences in terms of drafting or planning of the budget. They can have their voice, into the drafting process.
Isaac, when we do this well, what are we likely to gain? If we all do this well and hold this initiative very well, what are we likely to gain?
We are likely to promote transparency. We are likely to spur innovation and economic growth. Not only that, we are likely to eliminate waste and corruption in the system.
Well, I was just about ending it, but it's always said that we've had a lot of NGOs coming into the country exploiting people, not directly laying emphasis to the north, but we've seen people come, pick on situations, make a lot of wealth from it, and just bolt away without addressing the issues. Would we say this is one?
It's rather unfortunate. I've heard similar stories, like the microfinance institution. They said they're doing business with the poor. At the end, they exploit the people. But we have set, an all-inclusive agenda. And basically, this is focusing on addressing structural problems, constraining, marginalized people or people, vulnerable people, from the society. So basically, what we do as a typical social entrepreneur, you assess successes in terms of the impact you make on society. Unlike typical businesses who assess performance in terms of profit and returns.
Okay, so the impact you make on society
you are looking
at for. I can say a big thank you to you, Agri, for coming into the studios. Agri, you can sit down. And then definitely when you do good, we will find you and we will tell your story. And that's just the typical one that we have done. He is the Executive Director of WAS, and that's the West African Social Entrepreneurship Network. Indeed, we're grateful, and for the good job you're doing, we'd want to say you are a mover. Definitely one day you would also become that mover that we're looking for. Just to stay with us when we come back, we're talking about your investments.
Next time you're out there on your own, ask yourself, what does that word, prosper, mean to you? From the day you come into the world, it's going to tell the story of your life, where you've come from and where you're heading. It's an action word, like dance, win, grow, hope, dream. So think about what that word, prosper, means to you. And we'll be there, standing beside you, shoulder to shoulder, knowing you can, believing you will prosper.
No matter the size of your business, you can count on us to always be there with the right products and cutting-edge services that will grow your business. Call Vodafone Business Solutions on 030-233-4040.
Vodafone, power to you.
Moving forward is believing in your objectives, in your dreams, in you. You move forward, we do too. Colina Insurance is now Saham Insurance. Saham Insurance. Feel free to move forward.
Enjoy 3 days of special May Day discount on 28th, 29th, and 30th of April at all Malcolm shops nationwide. Example, buy items worth 200 Ghana cedis or more on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and get a 10% discount instantly. Buy now before the May Day holiday. Malcolm, where Ghana shops.
Come on, Malcolm.